Hey, welcome back to class. Let's go ahead and bow in, chair up, bow, knees. All right, in today's class, we're going to continue working on the techniques that we've learned in the previous classes, and we're going to add one new solo drill today. But let's go ahead and get started with our warm-up first. I want you to get in this kind of sparring stance, and I just want you to bounce around a little bit. Let's get those legs warmed up. Notice I'm just gonna be moving my arms nice and light. Obviously, if I was sparring, I'm not gonna sit here and do this, but I just want you to relax the arms, move them around, all right, get that blood flowing throughout your body. I can kind of twist my hips a little bit by turning the feet, doing that pivot with both my feet, point them towards the front, point them towards the side. And I'm gonna go ahead and go forward and backwards a little bit. Again, notice I'm just moving like 6 inches. It's not a big movement here. Just a little forward, a little backward. I can move my head back a little bit if I'd like. And I can move forward. Okay, let's go ahead and switch our stance. We're gonna do the same thing. Let's go ahead and move forward and backward. Again, just that little 6-inch movement, nothing drastic. Try to stay bouncing and moving. Drop down, go forward, feint. Let's go ahead and stand in a more squared stance, and let's go side to side. And just moving like 6 inches from one side to the other side. Boom, boom. Nothing massive. Stay bouncing. Okay, let's go ahead and get into a sparring stance, and let's do switches. So I'm gonna tell you when to switch, switch, switch. I want you to stay moving, stay up, switch. Hands are kind of floating up now. Switch. Switch all the way with the chest. Switch. Switch. Don't hold your breath. Breathe. Switch. 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 Okay, so we're gonna keep doing the same thing, but now we're gonna be moving forward and backward with our switches. So kind of in that same manner that we did this motion, we're gonna do that same thing, but we're gonna go with our switch. So when I do the switch now, I'm a little bit more forward. Oh. Okay, and I can do the same thing going back, right? So I'm not doing a full step back where the back foot stays in place, and same thing, I'm not doing a full step forward. I'm doing a switch, but this foot will end a little bit more in front, or if I'm going back, this foot will land about right here. So I'm only moving about a foot back. It's not a big difference, but I am creating a little bit more space, either taking away the space or giving the space. So we're gonna move forward first. We're bouncing. Switch, 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 switch. And we'll move backwards now. Switch, 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 switch. So notice both feet are moving at the same time. Again, I'm not just pivoting around one, like I'm stepping. I'm bringing both my feet, except for now I'm pushing my weight either forward, which causes me to be forward a little bit more, or I'm bringing my weight back a little bit, which causes my switch to move me back. Again, this is just so when we start sparring, we can manage distance. If we want to set up a certain kick where we like it more on one side, we can do our switch, but create the distance and then set up whatever it is, or take away the distance in something that's a little bit less noticeable than if I just completely step forward into their space. If I've been here and I've kind of been switching, but now I'm moving forward or I'm moving backward with my switch, it's a little bit less noticeable than a full step forward or these big motions, because I can take 6, 7 inches at a time, as opposed to take 2 whole feet where it's very noticeable. If I just am kind of creeping up or creeping back to get my perfect distance for my legs, it's again a little bit less noticeable. I want you to kind of play around with that as well. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna stretch a little bit. First thing that I'm gonna have you do is I'm going to have you do the socket stretch, one of my favorite ones to start off with. And we're gonna go up and then down, up and then down. And feel that full range of motion every time you do this. Not gonna hold it for a super long time. I don't want you to hurt yourself with this. You should not feel pain. Don't push yourself into the pain. Even now, we're not really even going to much discomfort. We might have a little bit of discomfort, but not a lot, right? It's not like a static stretch. This is not to improve our flexibility. This is to just help improve our performance and reduce the risk of injury. Can't take it away, but we can reduce it by stretching. Okay, you set? And now it's okay if the bottom of your foot comes up. Just make sure to keep the ball of the foot and the heel on the ground. Because we're focusing on here. So I don't have to keep the entire blade edge of my foot on the ground. You don't have to do that. Okay, from here, I'm gonna drop my back knee down. Notice the ball of my foot is now on the ground. I'm going to push forward, and then I'm going to lean back. Trying to get my chest close to my knee, my thigh, lean forward, and lean back. Stretch the hip flexors, stretch the hamstrings of that front leg. Make sure your knee is pointed forward, not opened up towards the outside. And back. Forward, and back. Forward, and back. Let's do one more. Forward, and back. Let's go and switch sides. Other knees on the ground. Push your hips forward. Feel that nice stretch. Side back. Stretch those hamstrings. Forward to the hip. Back to the hamstrings. Chest up when you go forward. Chest down as you go back. Chest up. And down. Up. And let's do one more. Forward. And backward. All right, let's hop up. Hip openers. Closers. Now we're going to stand squared. We're going to reach forward and reach back. If you can, you're going to reach even further than just straight back. One arm goes to the front. Turn that upper spine. Exhale. Z-twist. A little bit faster, but I'm still loose. So I'm not throwing this hard. I am speeding up the motion with loose muscles. Okay, let's go ahead. Backward arm circles. Open the chest up. Full range of motion. Forward arm circles. Hands on hips, head, forward, backward, side, side, forward, backward, side, side, forward, backward, side, side, and one more. Okay, let's go ahead and let's get into our fighting stance. We're going to start off with just our jab and our cross. So remember, as we throw our jab, we're not raising our elbow first and snapping this out. All right, it's not a hammer fist. We're punching, elbows pointed downwards, and then at the end, my hand twists. Okay, I want my shoulder relatively up to protect my face. I don't have to go way up here, right? But relatively up. And then as this is coming back, my cross is coming out. I'm gonna touch my face with the hand that did my jab. I'm gonna push my hip towards the front, and I'm gonna raise my back heel for my cross, touching my chin to my shoulder, and then bringing it back. Okay, we're gonna do 20 of these. Ready? Begin. 1, 2. I want 1 rolling right into the next. 3, 4, 5, 6. Press off that back leg. 7, 8. Notice my knees bend each time and I extend out. 9. Touch the face as the other one comes out. 10. 11. Breathe out. 12. 13. Use those legs each time. 14. 15. 16. 17. 18. 19. 20. Breathe in. Okay, so now we're gonna do 10 more on the same side before we switch. Now what I want you to do this time is I want your head to create this kind of a U shape, right? So we're gonna come here. I'm loading up onto my legs and I'm hitting. I'm loading up and hitting. My head is just kind of bobbing up and down, creating this U shape. Now, you don't always have to punch like this, right? This is just a really good way to feel your legs working into it because we have to bend, right? We want to keep our face pointed towards the front and we come up, and as we're coming up, we're getting that extension, extension. So I'm bobbing down to set my legs, get them ready, and then extend with my legs to throw that punch. So we're gonna do 10 more, nice and slow, but now I want your head creating this U shape. Ready? Begin. 1, 2, 3, eyes forward. The chin can be tucked, but the eyes have to be forward. 4, 5, press off that back leg. 6, raise that back heel. Do that cross. 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, hopefully you felt it a little bit more in the legs. Now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna switch sides. We're gonna do the exact same thing as before, right? So this time, if you want to get the legs going with that U shape, you can. We're gonna do the first 20, but I want you to really focus on straight punches, turning the hip on that cross, and touching your face as the hand comes back. That's the goal for these first 20. If you wanna do that U shape, you can. We're gonna do 10 more after doing that U shape. Ready? Begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, hands back to the face. 6, press off of that back leg. 7, 8, we're not just raising it up, we're pressing off of it. 9, 10, 11, 12, chin to shoulder. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Breathe in. Right now. Now we're gonna do that U shape. Okay. So we're gonna start here. As we go for our jab, we're gonna drop down and we're gonna bring it back. And we're gonna drop down and bring the cross forward. Ready? Begin. 1. I'll count on the cross. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, press off that back leg. 8, load those legs, come up. 9, 10, breathe in and out. Okay, now we're gonna go and we're going to do our blocks. So we're gonna do them like we did last time, adding in that hip motion. We're just gonna stand in our squared position, so we're not gonna quite walk forward, just turning, setting up, and blocking, okay? So I'm still gonna do it on 2 counts, but we will go at a little bit faster of a pace than we did in the past, and we're going to alternate each time. So instead of doing the left arm 20 times and then doing the right arm 20 times, we're We're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, ready? Begin. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, palm towards the face. 2, palm down, not way too far out. 3, 4. Turn the hip with it. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Relax. Tense. 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn the hips. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do a few more. 1, 2. Really add that hip in there. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we're going to do 20, 10 on each side on one count. Ready? Begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Tighten up your core as you're finishing that. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Breathe out. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And then, no. Next thing we're gonna do our high block. So, remember, with our high block, whichever hand is going to block goes across the stomach. Our other hand is up, palm facing inwards. And we're going to bend our knees, pointing our toes about 45 degrees towards the direction that our hand went to set up for this block. And then we're going to come back, turning our hip, extending off of this. I guess it would be our front leg, the leg that we're more towards, the opposite leg from the blocking hand. And we're going to extend that up and block. Tighten up your core, your shoulders, your arms, all at the end. Breathe out, exhale, tighten when you exhale, and then immediately relax, right? So we want, just like if somebody was to punch you, you would brace for the impact, but then you would immediately relax. You're not gonna, and then stay tense the whole time, right? We don't wanna do that. I'm gonna tense up and then relax immediately. That's what we're going for here. And that's what we want on our punches, on our blocks. We wanna be able to control that tension really fast, suddenly activate it, and then turn it off immediately. Ready? Same thing as before. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Palm up, palm in. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Something on my eye. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Everything stops moving, all at that same time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. A few more. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. same as before. Now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do 20. We're gonna do it on one count. So we're gonna set up and block, set up and block. Notice the pace at which I'm setting up. I'm not, right, I could do that. I'm starting slow, and then I'm executing fast. Starting slow, executing fast. That's what I want you to do. I want you to start slow, set up slow, build it up, and then boom, explode, and stop, relax, and reset. Ready? And begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Exhale. 13. Tighten up everything. 14, 15, 16. Remember that rotation at the very end. 17, 18, 19, 20. Relax. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do our front kicks. We're gonna do them with our rear leg. And I want you to, again, practice kicking with the ball of the foot this time instead of with the instep. Right? I did the instep at first. It's a little bit easier to teach the kick, but again, it's a less effective kick and there's less targets that I can do. It's great if you want to kick them in the groin, but if you don't want to kick them in the groin, well, it's not very useful. Okay? So we want to be able to kick forward instead of having to kick straight up. So from here, my back leg is going to raise up. I'm going to have a flexed ankle, all right, see how it's bent. I'm going to extend out, and I extend my ankle, and I want to pull my toes back. So this is pointing my toes forward. I'm going to pull my toes back. That way I could kick straight and hit a target. And again, my kick is now going in a straight line as opposed to just kicking in this upward direction, more forward. Now, I can do this exact same kick and make it go higher, right? I can kick up and have it angled upwards if I want to kick like to the jaw or something, or maybe I just want a really nice looking kick when I'm not kicking anything and I want to kick high. That's fine. Still want you to pull the toes back and kick with the ball of the foot. Okay, so we're going to do 2 sets of 10 on this. So start off, right leg in the back, and begin. 1. You can bring it all the way back, or you can drop it down in front and then step back. All the way back will just have a little bit more control, but realistically, if I'm kicking somebody, I'm probably gonna fall forward. Up to you. 2, 3. Now I want you to make sure when you're kicking this, you're not getting full extension and then bringing your knee up higher as you re-chamber. Wherever your full extension's at, that's the highest your knee goes. So I'm kicking down low, I'm only gonna go here. I'm not gonna kick down low and then bring my knee up high. All right, it doesn't look good. Wherever the full extension is, that's the highest point of your knee. Was that 2? Let's go, this will be 3. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Remember to rotate that foot 30 to 45 degrees. 9, 10. Switch legs, same thing. 1. You need to stretch out the hamstring again. It's the side I pulled, so it always wants to be stretched before I do these again. 2. If at any point you need to stretch, just go ahead and stretch. You don't have to wait for me. 3. Don't hurt yourself. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. Take a breath in. And out. Switch legs again. Same thing. Ready? 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9, 10. Other leg. Begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Take a breath. Good. Now we're going to do our half roundhouse kick. So 2 sets of 10, half roundhouse kick. Again, making sure that we're pivoting over 90 degrees with that base leg. If we can get it 180, that wasn't quite 180 for me, but if we can, awesome, that's the goal, but it has to be over 90 degrees. Other things here, I want head, hip, knee, all in a line. Don't create this L shape. Again, I've talked about it before, talked about it again. You can do a good roundhouse kick with an L shape. There's certain ways to do it. We're not focusing on that right now. We're focusing on the pivot and having body control and body alignment. Right? There's a reason we're not doing the full roundhouse kick yet. We're just working on the fundamentals that will build up into more than just a roundhouse kick. Okay, this is teaching you much more than just a roundhouse kick. And then make sure as we do this, I want you to focus on pivoting back, counter pivoting. Right? It's one thing to pivot forward, it's another thing to pivot back. I want you to be able to pivot back, because then when we do back spin kicks of really any kind, it'll be easier for you. Okay? Ready? Half roundhouse kicks. And begin. 1. Now I'm holding it for a split second up at the top. That's fine. You're welcome to do that too. 2. Just helps with the balance. Nothing wrong with that. 3. 4. 5. 6. Try to get the shin horizontal, not angled up. 7. 8. 9. 10. Take a breath. We're gonna switch legs. If you need to move your hips around a little bit more, that's fine. This morning it was below freezing, so it's still pretty cold in here. So I gotta keep my hips warmed up too. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Breathe in and out. We're gonna do one more set. These half rounds. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then, now, switch your legs, same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. in and out. Okay, now we're gonna do solo drill number 1. So solo drill number 1 is 2 half roundhouse kicks put together. And what we're focusing on is the transition between the two, right? We just practiced the half roundhouse kick. Now I want you to flow. So I'm gonna show you a good example first, and I'm gonna show you a bad example. So a good example, okay? A bad example would be this. Right, you saw how in between one, as I set the foot down, I kept my weight on my back leg. I kind of paused for a second, and then I shifted and went. I want, as soon as this foot of that front leg touches the ground, the weight is immediately shifting and you're going into the next one, okay? So I don't want you to, pause here and then kick. We're working on chaining things together and transferring our weight from our base leg to the leg that just kicked as it's touching, and then moving directly into another kick. So I want that transition and fluidity. You don't have to go fast at any part of this. I can do this whole thing slow and controlled, right? So as soon as I let that foot down, I go immediately. All right, notice I controlled even the let down. Boom, boom. But that wasn't fast. I didn't do anything fast there. I did everything controlled, but I did it fluidly. And that's what I want. I want you to have that fluidity. Don't care about speed currently. Speed comes in later. Fluidity first. Remember, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Okay, we're going to go ahead and we're gonna do 10 of these. Ready? Begin. 1. We're gonna land it here, turn and face the other direction, and then immediately go back. That's 1. 2. Land, turn, and go. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. Breathe. 8. 9. 10. Deep breath in and out. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do solo drill number 2. So this is the first time I showed you solo drill number 2, but you know all of the pieces of it already. So, demonstration, what it looks like. That's it. So, you can start on either side. I don't care which side you start on, but I want you to go from one side to the other. So you're gonna go, if you start with your left, you'll do the left low block, right low block, left high block, right high block, left front kick, right front kick, stepping back into that square position. If you start with your right, it's gonna be the exact same thing. Right low block, left low block, right high block, left high block, right kick, left kick. Again, I don't care what side you start with. I just want you to alternate sides as you're going down, okay? Now, as you probably noticed, I also turn my hips on all of my blocks as I was doing this, okay? So I want you to keep that in mind. Turn those hips. When you're throwing that kick, your feet were starting off towards the front. I set it down, then I pivot. I set that foot down, I kick, and I pivot back, right? So be aware of those little nuances as we do this. Okay, ready? I'm gonna practice this. Nice and slow at first, but but I still want you to add that crispness, that power, that slow setup, fast execution. I want you to apply those concepts here and everywhere. Anytime we do a block, right? Sometimes you'll run through the forms and you'll kind of do this, but if you're really focusing on it and you're really working it, and it's not just a memory exercise, it's a body exercise, then you need to be applying those concepts. Ready? Begin. 1, low block, high block, high block. Notice my hands came to my face, front kick, rechamber, set it down, front kick, back to that square position. And I can switch sides if I'd like to practice both. 2, low block, high block, front kick, front kick. 3, we're doing 20 by the way. 1, 2, high, kick, kick. Now I would actually like you to switch sides at the begins each time. 4, low block, high block, front kick, hands up to face, front kick. 5, kick with the ball of the foot. 6, 7, 8, 'Now I want you to notice that after each technique, I give a slight pause. So I'm not gonna go, right, and just kick, kick, pass. I'm not rushing through this. I'm setting up, giving that slight pause, setting up, slight pause, setting up, slight pause, setting up, slight pause, kick, slight pause, kick, slight pause, right? I want you to work that. I don't want you to rush through these. Nice and slow. All right, so I believe we did 8, so we're going with 9 now. 9. Breathe on each one. I want you to squeeze your quad at the top of that kick for a split second, right? I want it to almost hold in the air for just a second. So instead of here, and coming down really fast, I want you to squeeze it. And now it should just be long enough that if you were recording this with a camera, you could be able to go through frame by frame, and there'll be one frame where the kick is fully extended and it looks not blurry. That's how long you should hold it for. Just one frame, which is 1/24 of a second. Not a long time at all, but I want you to feel that quad contracting, and you have that split second of pause, so that if you do that, there's that one frame that's not blurry, and that's what I want you to be able to do, okay? So now we're on 10, I'm gonna start with my right. Low block, high block, front kick, 11, 12, 'Remember, wherever your full extension's at, your knee does not go higher during the rechamber. 12, 13, 14, 15. Good blocks. Make sure you're starting off facing the correct direction. Okay, that was 15. Don't let me forget. I'm gonna say something else. So you probably noticed that I will talk sometimes while doing this technique, and sometimes I'll talk and it'll kind of do that, right? That's because when I'm doing the technique, I still contract. So it's hard to talk while your core and everything is tightened up. So you hear that sound when I'm talking and I do it, and it tightens up and you kind of, that bracing sound. That's what you should be doing every time, right? Sometimes you hear it when I talk. I try to exhale and then say the words, or I'll pause and do it because it is kind of uncomfortable to talk while doing that. But you will catch me doing that sometimes, and that's what I want you to feel, right? When you're doing these, you have that sudden contraction. It's very important that you learn how to do that, okay? That's why I will talk about it and talk about it and talk about it and talk about it. Even once you have it, I will continue to talk about it because I want you to think about it and I want it to stay on your mind as you're doing this, okay? Sorry if I beat the dead horse too much, but it's important. All right, we're on 16. 16. 17. Turn those. 18. 19. 20. 'Breathe in and out. Okay, so I'm going to quickly recap what we went over in today's class. After we did our warm-up, remember during our warm-up, we also practiced kind of moving back and forward while bouncing and doing our switches to manage that distance. From there, we did our jab crosses, focusing on pressing off our back leg, raising up that heel, keeping our shoulder next to our face. From there, we went to some jab crosses where we practice loading our legs, creating this U shape with our head as we bob up and down. From there, we went to our blocks. We practiced our low blocks. We practiced our high blocks. And then we did our rear leg front kick, kicking with the ball of the foot. After that, we worked on our half roundhouse kick, focusing on head, hip, knee alignment, and rotating, trying to get 180 degrees with that pivot. After we did that, we did solo drill number 1. Solo drill number 1 was 2 half roundhouse kicks, focusing on this transition of the body weight from one to the other, not having any sort of a pause after the first one before we go to the next one. From there, we learned solo drill number 2, which was our 2 low blocks. Make sure we're doing good, powerful low blocks, setting up, and 2 high blocks. Same thing, nice power, good setup, and then 2 front kicks. If we started with our left on the low block, then we'd start on the left with our high block and with our front kicks, and vice versa if we started with our right. So let's go ahead and let's cool down now. We're gonna do some stretching. Let's do sumo splits. Still one of my favorites. Here. And let's go ahead and let's open up the hips a little bit by rocking back and forth, using our forearms to keep our knees pointed out towards the side with this. Here, let's go ahead and drop down. So we'll spread our legs out a little bit more. We're gonna drop down on one leg. And I want you to try to keep that heel down. If you don't have super flexible calves or ankles, this might be a little bit hard, but I want you to focus on it. One of your goals is to become more flexible as you go through this course. So if you can't put that heel on the ground yet, continue to work on it. And this is a great way to do so. From here, I want you to go ahead and put the hand that's close to the knee, fingers pointed back, and then the other hand that's close to the straight leg. Again, fingers pointed back right above that knee, like we're chalking our legs so they can't come in any, and we're going to press with our forearms by bending our elbows to kind of open our legs up and cause us to do a little bit of a split. And then from here, if you'd like, you can lean forward just a little bit, just don't topple over. And let's hold this position. Remember, this is a static stretch, which means we are going to continue to hold this position for a little while. It's not going to be a short one. We need over 20 seconds usually in order to actually feel some of the lengthening benefits from this. So we do want to hold it for slightly longer periods of time. It can become slightly uncomfortable. Being uncomfortable is okay. Being in pain is not okay. If you are in pain, doing this, if all of these classes are already put out and you're doing 3 a day and you're in a lot of pain, well, you're overtraining, okay? So calm down. Don't hurt yourself by doing too much, because then you're just gonna stop and quit. Most likely, maybe you'll come back. But most people, after they get an overtrain injury, they quit. Unless they're like an athlete that gets paid to do it. Let's go ahead and switch to the other side. So remember, take it nice, easy, relaxing. Feel a little bit discomfort, but never pain, right? Feel pain, something's wrong, and quit it. Same thing, I'm gonna press with this elbow, forearm, pushing that back knee open, and then same thing, this one in the front, and then leaning forward slightly. Take some deep breaths. Mentally prepare for what's next. It's gonna be your favorite one. It's my favorite one, and I'm not lying about that. Not at all, definitely not lying. I love it, it's my favorite. Okay, let's go ahead, come to the center, hands down, and split. And notice my feet are angled about 45 degrees to the front. They're not pointed directly up, and they're not completely flat on the ground. I have a good bit of my weight actually in my arms right now. Instead of being in my legs, I have enough weight that I feel uncomfortable, right? I can feel my muscles tight, and I'm waiting, and I'm gonna wait until they start to decide to loosen up on me. Once they start to loosen up on me, I'll wait a few more seconds, and then we'll move on to the next one. And that's the goal. Your muscles are just gonna eventually be like, fine, we'll release, I guess, if you really want it. So, we wanna make our muscles release. Focus on relaxing them as much as possible. Okay, I felt my left side just release some. Your right side's still holding on. You'll start to understand what I mean. At first, it might be a little confusing. What are you talking about? Once you start to feel it and you feel your muscles go from, hey, you're controlling it, you're trying to protect yourself, and that's usually what it is, it's a protection response. You're trying to protect yourself, and then your muscles are like, fine. And they just, if you want to hurt yourself, we'll let you do it, and they relax, and they'll just give up, and then you'll feel it. And that's what we're going for. Okay, we're gonna come up. Let's go towards, I'm gonna go towards my right side. I'm gonna go my knuckles now, my wrists are hurt. Right hand over my right leg, right toes completely up to the sky. Slide on down. Because I'm using my knuckles, I want to make sure I'm keeping that proper wrist alignment. Only touch my big 2 knuckles, not those little knuckles. I can move that pinky around pretty freely. Again, we're going to feel for that relaxation. And sometimes you can, if you actively focus on relaxing, you'll be able to kind of make it go a little bit faster when you start to get that mind-body connection. There we go. So a few more seconds, I just had my relaxation point. All right, let's come up, and we're gonna go to the other side. I got scratched yesterday. I just had some blood, it just broke open. I was like, why is my hand bleeding? Disappointed on that side, used to be so much better. Okay, come on, relax, you guys. You can do it. Now, this can be really frustrating, right? It's painful. It's not painful. It's not painful, right? It's discomfort. It's uncomfortable. Sometimes you feel like you're just not improving. If you stretch too many times in a week, then you actually kind of go backwards a little bit until you give it a little bit of time to rest. You shouldn't have too many deep stretch days in a row because it's counterproductive. Right? Your muscles are tearing when this is happening. Right? every time we do these long static stretches, your muscles tear a little bit. It's okay if you give it time to heal, rest, recover, then they'll grow back a little bit longer. That's what we want. But if you do it every day, you're constantly tearing, and they're just constantly fighting because they don't want to continue to tear because they're never getting the chance to recover. So make sure that you do give them the chance to recover. Okay, let's come up. All right, let's shake it out. Modified hip twist. Knees up. I'm shaking out my shoulders too because I was holding up a lot of weight in them. All right, standing quad stretch. Here, grab. If you want to feel a little bit more of a stretch or bring it up to the hip flexor a little bit, you just push that hip forward by bringing that knee back. And then you can feel it. Sometimes you can even just bring it back first, let the foot come away from the butt, and then bring it in. If you want to get a little bit more stretch in those quads and hip flexors. It's also great for working on your balance. Okay, other side. If you absolutely need to, you can put your hand on a wall or really anything to help keep your balance. But if you don't absolutely need to, try to do it without it. Again, you'll be working on that balance. Sometimes you'll be kind of hopping around. Once you start hopping around, try to find that point and then relax, gain that control again. You'll start to feel your toes pressing and controlling that foot. And again, if you start hopping again, work on regaining that balance and holding it. This is a good balance exercise stretch. Feet together. Pinch your shoulder blades together. Make your arms short, right? By pinching the shoulder blades together and reach. Keep that back pretty straight as you can. Tilt your pelvis. Boom, here. And feel that stretch. It's okay if you can't touch the ground, especially if you're doing it this way. It honestly would be really hard and pretty impressive if you're able to touch the ground. If you can, you're really flexible at this point while keeping the back straight at least. Okay, a few more seconds here, and then we're gonna go ahead and let's relax the back and go down a little bit further. Shake it out one last time. Drip, bow, kunyu. And great job on that class, you guys. You know what to do. If you're not already following me or whatever, go ahead and like, subscribe, comment. Tell me what the hardest part of this class was. Tell me what the easiest part was. And if there's anything else that you would like to see or like to see less of. We're still gonna do the splits, guys, so don't tell me you want to do less of splits, because just do it. All right, just don't hurt yourself.